How Shelby Sapp prints multi-millions every single year. So you might have seen Shelby Sapp. She teaches high ticket online sales. She's got probably one of the biggest organic audience in the info space, in the high ticket sales space specifically. And she makes a lot of money. You probably, if you're in the space, you've seen her. Like, you have seen her. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to break down her funnel and allow you guys to kind of understand exactly how such a big operation is built, and also how you can really just simplify the process, simplify the funnel, and just break it all down basically. So essentially what it comes down to at the start is organic content and paid ads. So organic content, you can kind of break it down to value, viral, proof, lifestyle. So here, she's given a bit of value here, three-way close. What is that? Don't know. Here, viral, so you know, any girl can relate to this. Anyone's like, you're gonna get some bums reposting this really, but this is the type of stuff that the general public seem to like. They'll repost that. That will then get her more engagement. Here, proof. So this is one of her students, 4K a month bartender, turned 50K a month high ticket closer. Pretty cool. Lifestyle. So if you've been following her or Alex Eubank, you'll know that them two got married after like 7 months of knowing each other. I don't know what's going on there, but that's what happened there. So you can kind of break it down into value, viral, proof, and lifestyle. And then what she'll do is she'll just post as much of that in a certain cadence as she possibly can. Then the second part will be paid ads. So what you can do, most of you guys already know this, but what you can do is you can essentially go onto Meta Ads Library, you can type in anyone's name, and if they're running ads, you can basically see all their information about that, which is a good strategy for looking for winning ads within your niche. But that's something separate. When you do type in Shelby Sapp at the minute, she's not actually running any ads, but usually she does run ads specifically to her webinar mainly. Now, the only thing that she has on her landing page, which is literally just her Instagram, is student wins, student wins, student wins. So a ton of proof basically. You get it, as you can see, you're getting the leads onto the Instagram, aka the landing page. Then from here, there'd be two different sources that she'd use. So the first one would be, you know, your classic DM setter reaches out, go through the framework. So outreach, we actually need to add that in, a little bit of a DIY mid video, but outreach, qualify current situation, future situation, plan to get there. Utilize leverage gains to identify pivot points to then obviously book the call, all while building rapport. So that's what that will happen. So there'll be a DM setter in her account. If you've ever been messaged by Shelby Sapp, I'm sorry, you were not speaking to her. She had a DM setter in, and if you thought that it was her, then props to DM setter. Then we'll obviously go through to the pre-call sequence. But the other way that she'd be utilizing the leads that come onto her landing page is through a webinar. So essentially, use organic and paid ads content, use pre-webinar nurturing assets, for example, having a WhatsApp group where you get people in, then you begin to nurture them, like say 7 to 14 days before the webinar, sending them free value, sending them guides, sending them as much as you possibly can just to warm them up, send them voice notes or things like that. Here, she'll run the webinar, get as many people on as possible. She'll either drop the payment link just on the call, raggo like that. Most likely she does do that because she has quite a big audience, or she'll drop the Calendly link of her closer team. People will book in. She'll probably do that in the middle of the webinar and at the end as well. Now, I do speak from experience with webinars, so we've run a few webinars in our time. We have, of course, the entire SOPs to run a webinar in any niche. We ran one with Dash, so Deanna and Shana. As you can see, very different follower level to Shelby Sapp. I mean, Shelby's got, what is it exactly? She's got 1.2 million people, so insane, absolutely insane. And then here, Deanna and Shana, they had about just over 17,000 collectively, 10.5 on one, 6.7 on the other. So nothing nearly as close to the organic audience that say Shelby has. However, utilizing the offer groups that we have, we managed to implement the sales team inside this, create the WhatsApp messaging cadence and partner with a growth operator called EC Group as well to reach a total of 92,000 cash collected for Dash in this month. Just to kind of show you how much Shelby, for example, could be making when she has I don't even want to work out the maths for that. She has hundreds and hundreds of times more followers and organic proof, everything more than these two girls here. However, they still managed to collect 92,000, with 65,000 of that being from webinar only. Now, to get that, obviously we had to put the dialers, the setters, the closers in. We were able to source that from our group. There's actually a lot more people in the group now that show here. There's about 2,600. So that was easy. Placed the full sales team, got that in place. They obviously ran the webinar. Then after the webinar, our team re-engaged, booked everyone in. I think we booked about just over 200 calls. So something crazy like that. And I'm genuinely not just saying this to flex. The reason why I say this is because if you think that these two girls here who have nowhere near Shelby's audience, they've still managed to do something like that. So you can imagine the level that Shelby's then playing at when she has all this organic content that or all this organic reach that she can utilize as well. So yeah, once that's all been done and the calls have been booked, whether that's from the webinar or whether that's from the DM setting, a pre-call sequence will then be initiated. So that will be an email, most likely, with testimonials, a VSL, some value content, and then something like a free guide, something like that, just to build up more trust, build up more proof, get as much of that know, like, and trust as you can in, warming them up for the closing call, which Shelby will then close them on, most likely high ticket, probably about 5,000, most likely something along that, and she'll then stack. Now, one thing about Shelby I noticed when I was analysing her funnel is she doesn't actually have that much YouTube, which for me is extremely confusing, because what we've noticed with our offers is the people that, you know, really push the YouTube, they're the ones that do the best, but she hasn't really done too much long form. So Shelby, if you're watching this video, maybe you need to get on the YouTube a bit more, build up more know, like, and trust, and then you'll be making even more money. So yeah, that's essentially how her funnel works. And now that you kind of know how these type of funnels work, you're probably going to look at your influencers and the ones that you follow, or things like that. And you're going to look at them slightly differently, because now you can see, okay, this is how they make their money. This is how this all works. When I think that as someone that is, say, like a content consumer, you would look at someone like Shelby Sapp and you would never think about all this infrastructure that's kind of behind her at all. You just wouldn't. So it's pretty interesting breaking it all down. But thank you guys for joining me today. Going to be posting a lot more content like this on my YouTube, just breaking down funnels, all things like that, and giving as much value as possible. If you guys want to reach out to me for any help, anything setting related, even just a bit of advice, my Instagram is, I'll put it on the miro, Aaron Tyre, one word, pretty simple. Aaron spelled it weird, it's A-R-U-N. Don't know why, but that's just that. So yeah, drop me a message on Instagram and go from there. But yeah, appreciate you for joining me, guys. See you in the next video.